welcome to episode 334 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I would like to welcome my guest, Patrice Brend'amour. How are you doing, Patrice? So glad you're here.
I'm doing very, very well. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I definitely did, even though it's not a thing here in Austria. I did a little Thanksgiving celebration. Just me, but I thought of you.
It's okay. Great. We appreciate that. And yes, if everybody isn't aware, we are recording the show on Friday after Thanksgiving because of the holiday. Been so glad to still be able to bring you a show this week. And also glad that he's here in an undisclosed location. Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty?
Yeah, undisclosed location. Basically, I had it with my family yesterday. It was absolutely insane. I checked into a hotel and they can't find me.
That is
Boundaries are important in every relationship.
Yeah, spectacular.
That is perfect.
That's spectacular.
Yeah, actually
Marty.
having a great time with my in-laws' family. Enjoyed taking a break for a couple hours here to do the show.
Awesome. So glad you're here. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, and I'm happy to be here with everyone. And while Marty's taking a couple hours out of his day to spend with us, I am wrapping up my away from family time by doing this show, and then the rest of the day it's fun and adventures with family in a totally good way. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for being here and taking the time out to do the show. This week, we are going to have some good topics about Vision Pro. We've got 3 people here with Vision Pros. Yay, we can talk about it. And then, Jeff, you can always give us some good input, as always. And the beta this week, not too much to talk about, but going to talk a little bit more about iOS 18.2. I'm going to do a couple product reviews this week. I've got some Scosche products that I wanted to show you with some car mounts and another surprise device. I don't know if I call it a device. Lots of news here, but let's go ahead and get started. We'll start, as always, with the Vision Pro. Let's. First thing I found here was a forgotten Apple patent reveals the original idea for the Vision Pro. It was a forgotten patent from back in 2008 that suggested that the company has been working on the Vision Pro for a very, very long time. This was actually spotted by Macworld's Dan Morin while he was browsing through the Internet Archive. A good place to find that. The old article shows only one diagram from the patent that looks extremely similar to this display of the Vision Pro. The device also describes as a wearable display with intelligent sensors that can simulate the experience of being in a virtual environment. It also mentions that the sensors would able to be tracking head and eye movements. So, boy, that sounds really familiar, doesn't it?
It looks super similar as well.
Yeah, so obviously Apple has been working on this for quite some time, so it's kind of a neat thing to see. Go back in time there. It's a long time ago. It's like 15 years plus ago. Yeah. So what do you think on this, Patrice?
Remember when the Vision Pro came out and I said they've been working on this for minimum 10 years? Well, it turns out it was like 14 or something back then.
You're 15, yeah.
It's 15 now, so it's actually 16 almost now. Yeah, not a surprise. The surprising thing is how close that is to the iPhone. And Apple was a very different company back then. So that is surprising that it was like really this close to it, but that it was 10, 12, whatever years ago, not a surprise. It takes a freaking long time to build something completely different. And I bet also the technology simply, I remember doing I think it was even Macworld 2014, like a VR demo somewhere. And it was horrible. And that was the state of the art back then. So, just takes, the technology took a while to grow and mature and get to a point where it's feasible to do something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. What Marty? What do you think of this?
Here's my fantasy about it. They really didn't know they were going to create this back in 2008. But some guy in a think tank said, let me put together something that I think would work. And they went, holy cow, let's slap a patent on it. Now, when you slap a patent on it, then you call your game. Other people can see what you're doing. But at the same time, I don't think, as Patrice said, the technology really wasn't there yet. But the innovation, the idea of what they could do with it was there. So that's that. This is now with Apple Vision Pro. I'm wondering what has come out of the think tank in the last 5 years that we might not, that's got a patent or will have a patent slapped on it, that we won't see happen for another 10 years. It's just exciting for me to think that a company thinks that way.
Yeah. I mean, how this usually happens is there's people in a company like Apple, there's people constantly thinking about new ways, looking at technologies, at ideas, and sometimes just as you said, like the what if. It's like, oh, we have the iPhone now, we have like the iPad. Actually, at this point, they probably even had they definitely had the iPad because it was the precursor to the iPhone internally. They had like the iPod and all of the others. It's like, okay, where is this whole thing going? Like the devices are going to get smaller. Where can we put them? And hey, like VR was a thing back then already. I mean, in the 90s, we had VR, which was really crap, but the idea was there. They're like, hey, this is how it could go. And okay, yes, Apple patents it because that's what you do then. You get together with the lawyers, design something really vague that says this is roughly what we're thinking and patent that, and then you keep going until either it turns into nothing or it turns into a product.
Yep. How about you, Jeff?
All right, so I'm going to be a pedant for just a moment.
Okay.
Forgotten Apple patent. No, this was never forgotten. Just those of us that read about these things didn't remember that this patent had been discovered and all the Apple news sites wrote about it. So this was not a forgotten patent. Okay, I got the pedant part out of the way, and
patent.
I love the a patent pedant. I love the drawing of this because it does look shockingly similar to what we got, and I want to point out that oftentimes what Apple will do with technologies that they're patenting that they know they're going to use, they will obfuscate it and incorporate it in the patent into some other kind of device. And the device itself is actually irrelevant. So it wouldn't surprise me if at the time that Apple patented all of this technology, that I said, yeah, that's really cool. I wonder what devices they're actually going to use these different elements in. And
that's true.
And so then if I had remembered all of it, then later on I would have been like, hey, look what they're doing with Face ID on the iPhone. I bet that's some of the technology that came out of this patent. But then in the end, here we are. We've got this. And yeah, they patented Vision Pro back in 2008. That's super cool.
Yeah. So it is cool. It is cool. I'm glad that was discovered. This was brought up again because we've had so many patents over the years, and you kind of forget about them. But in this case, the Vision Pro was, I didn't even think that this would become reality, and it did, and I'm loving it, and I know Marty is, and so is Patrice. So definitely very cool. Another story this week was the Apple Vision Pro's sales could take off as spatial computing market expands. If it's accurate, it can be good news for Apple Vision Pro. This is Omdia's latest research of spatial computing, cloud, and edge that indicates that the global spatial computing market is estimated to be $4.5 billion in 2024. Has it gotten there already? This was a term that was called in 2003 called spatial computing, that would refer to the process involving integrating digital data with the physical world and all the associated human interactions. As we know what the Vision Pro does now, and could this, as this technology remains, I know it's going to continue. We're excited about it, and I think more people are going to be excited about it. But I know it always spins back to the cost. I know $3,500 is a lot of money for a lot of people, but is the price going to come down? We're going to see. I'm going to start with you, Marty. What do you think on this?
I think the concept is going to it's not going away. And about a month ago, there were a lot of articles of it's dying, they're stopping production, it's going to be terrible.
Right. Yes.
There's lots of reasons why those things were inaccurate and clickbait and stuff like that. But when you see articles like this, and you see other articles that have come out with new support coming in through different apps and large players in the field, it's like it's not going away. I'm around relatives. I think they're really pretty tech unsavvy. I brought my Vision Pro with me. And at this point, the only person really interested in taking a look at it is the 27-year-old nephew from the Philippines, who is a lawyer. And he's like, he gets technology. He wants to try it out. We'll do that later tonight after dinner. But the rest, when you bring it up, and when I talked about the podcast, they're like, oh, what's that about? So it hasn't gone into the popular zeitgeist yet in terms of VR and AR and what it means.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Patrice.
I'm with you, Marty. Like the articles, like just make up your mind. Is it a failure? Is it a success? Like, are they selling? Are they not selling? Like it's all over the place. But I'm with you. I mean, us three, we've tried it, and like a couple 100,000 others. I mean, from what we're hearing, somewhere between 400,000 and 600,000 have been sold in, I think, 11 or 12 countries, by the way. So it's actually in a good chunk of the world by now. And give it 5-10 years. We know that. Like the adoption curve, it always takes time, and it might take. Some devices are quick, and some devices take decades. But at some point, I'm pretty sure this is so easy and convenient. And even today, with what we have, which is the worst the Apple Vision Pro is ever going to be, right? Because it's the first one. So, I mean, it's only going to get better from here. Give it 5 years, give it 10 years. This will be big. It just takes time. And some people will never get it, just like some people don't have a smartphone, and some people don't even have a microwave. There's people that just never get the technologies. Like, I don't need that. End of discussion.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff? Your thoughts?
Well, okay. First off, the headline. Come on. Apple Vision Pro sales could take off as spatial computing market expands. In other news, Earth's sky is blue.
Wow.
Of course.
Is it though?
Or it could be, Jeff, and you bring that to great attention. It's like, don't worry about Apple Vision Pro. If spatial computing takes off, it'll do fine with its sales.
Yeah. So, Patrice, you absolutely nailed it. And for everyone that wasn't paying attention, I'm going to call out and paraphrase what Patrice absolutely nailed. So my paraphrase is, Apple is the master of the slow burn. And they do not need a product to come out of the chute and be a worldwide blockbuster market dominating thing. They will grow their market over time, and they're patient. So
yes, very.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, added to the previous story, they've been very patient with even developing the thing. If it took 15 years to do, they've been super patient.
Yeah, Apple's not abandoning this. It's just going to keep going. Patrice, I love what you said. This is the worst Apple Vision Pro that Apple will make. Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. Yep. I'm looking forward to the day when I can be fiscally irresponsible and get a Vision Pro. Because
in other words, if someone wants to gift some to Jeff, I think he would be interested.
Yeah. Yes, I would. I'm totally fine with someone gifting me an Apple Vision Pro. I'll cover the cost of the prescription lenses.
Shipping.
Okay.
Or the shipping.
Even the shipping. It's not that much.
Sure, even the shipping, sure.
Well, we got to get Chuck Joyner to buy it first.
That's true.
What would be
true?
Okay. So now, first off, I don't expect anyone's buying me an Apple Vision Pro, but
of course.
But let's say that actually happened, and a Vision Pro shows up on my doorstep next week, and Chuck still doesn't have one. Come on, Chuck.
We won't tell him that it just showed up at your doorstep. We'll tell him that you made the effort to go out and get it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I felt like I had to because he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Too funny. So let's go ahead and move on. Beta this week, 18.2. I think it's on beta 4 right now, is continuing here. Not much else to talk about with this, but three biggest updates we probably should I would like to just call out is the mail inbox sorting has been noticeable updates with automatically sorting emails into categories, primary, transactions, updates, and promotions. Patrice, have you used that at all?
Yeah, actually, I'm
sorting.
Kind of. I don't use Apple Mail a lot, but every now and then because we have to use Outlook for work, and I hate using it, so I sometimes switch back to Apple Mail because that's at least better. And I can't use the third-party apps I want because you're not allowed.
Yep.
But Apple Mail always works. Actually, yeah, I'm surprised. It's surprisingly good. I didn't expect it to be this good. It actually is really good. It works really well. And if you don't want it,
I need to try that.
Go to the All Mail and use it as usual.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like the way, unfortunately, I hate to bring up this dirty word, Outlook, because Outlook always, you have to, I know, that you have to, your focus mailbox and other, and it drives me nuts. I turn it off as I just
actually,
can't stand
use it. I like it.
So I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe I got to get better at it. It is better to organize and be focused on just what you really need to look at. But Marty, how about you? Have you been using the mail app?
Yeah, well, I have had to. One of the ways I've tried to manage my workflow is simply not having all of my emails going through one email client. So I have my work mail go through Outlook because that's where they're into the Microsoft ecosystem. And so I have to kind of be on it for my work. And then I use Mail. I used to use Spark. But I got confused by all of the Spark AI stuff and just did Spark Classic. And now I've switched back to Mail because it does have that primary and secondary, or whatever they call it, mail sorting.
Yeah.
And usually all the ads and all of the informational stuff and the mug groups and things like that all go into the secondary, and the primary stuff is pretty good. So I'm enjoying it. I wish they would do more with it, as a product, and do some things like flagging and pinning and things that I haven't been able to do. That is one of the few things I enjoy about Outlook. So
sure.
Yep. That's true. Jeff, you have any thoughts on this?
It's hard for me to get excited about changes in Apple Mail because it's fundamentally broken for me. In part because Apple removed the ability to have all of those mail extensions, mail plugins.
Like you have, yeah.
And I relied on a bunch. So mail is just another email tool that's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
The other one I just want to hit on real quick.
It's a good fallback. Just saying.
It's a good fallback.
It is.
Yeah.
Assuming it won't choke on the server certificates for an email server.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's that. Real quick, I wanted to touch on this about the writing tools and the email summaries now with Apple Intelligence. You've got the automated email summaries. I'm kind of liking that. You already have that now in 18.1, but this is going to even be more enhanced. So it does allow you to draft a quick response by scanning the contents of the email. You can also adjust the tone, the length of messages, as well as use Apple Intelligence for a quick proofread. The article here says RIP Grammarly. It's possible. I don't know.
So that part I'm quite happy about.
Same.
Yeah. I use it at work. They provide it to us. I wouldn't pay for it for personally.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think work's going to allow Apple Intelligence anytime soon. So,
okay, here's the irony. You have much more privacy and security for your content with Apple's AI grammar assistant stuff than you'll ever have with Grammarly.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes.
Well, some companies think that having licensing for corporate for Grammarly, they feel they must keep it within a secure setting. So
some companies also think what they don't understand is evil.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's that with beta this week. So we're in December of 2024 here as we're recording here, and I kind of wanted to talk about what we can expect from Apple this December, what not to expect.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about 18.2. You know, I did touch upon Image Playground. Both of you have played with that. We're still not very impressed with it. The Vision OS 2.2, the huge Mac visual display upgrades is
that
amazing.
is massive. Yes,
I really think that's going to be a huge thing. Literally, yeah.
Literally
on camera. It's oh my god, it's incredible, and some more software updates like with Sequoia and tvOS and watchOS, and then of course we're gonna have another beta coming out too, probably after that 18.3.
We'll see. We'll see. That might skip into January, to be honest.
Yeah, we probably will. And then of course we're gonna have tons more releases on Apple TV Plus, which we fully expect, and then Apple Arcade. We'll talk about that a little bit here. Definitely not getting any more new hardware. I think we're good on new hardware for this year. I think Macs are good. I've been talking of great length here on the Mac Minis I have. I love them. And I think the Mac Pros with the M4s are great. And I think we're solid. I think going into the Christmas buying season, I think Apple's going to do very well with their products, for what they have. So,
but the one thing I'm missing so far, I don't know if I missed any announcements. There's not been any Christmassy things on Apple TV Plus. I mean, they're highlighting Spirited again, which was I think last year. So there's nothing new, at least from what I've seen.
Well, you could go on Netflix and watch Hot Frosty with Lacey Chabert, whatever. I think that's how you say your name.
Sure. I mean, there is tons of content on Apple TV Plus right now. Like, it's not that there's no content. I didn't see anything that screams Christmas.
So, like, no new holiday specials or anything. You're right. I haven't seen or heard anything either.
Not announced. I mean, maybe they'll surprise us. Who knows? But not announced.
Yep. And then Apple did announce the 2024 App Store Awards finalists, and there was including a Pro Video camera app, Kino, which is running for the iPhone App of the Year. 45 finalists across 12 categories, and including a first ever Vision Pro category. Woo! So we'll hit on that a little bit because don't get too much coverage on this, and nothing. I mean, other than this, I have not tried this app, Kino. I don't know if any of you have. It's a pro camera. It's $10. I want to check it out, see what it's all about. But I guess there is no trial, so you gotta either buy it or don't. But it's a pro video camera, and doing with pro tools and editing and that. So it must be good. A lot of the Apple's looking to make it as a finalist here. So
what does that say about Apple? That this group here, we're very much into Apple. We're trying new things all the time. Yeah. We're checking out apps. We're reading everything that happens. We haven't heard of probably half of those.
Yeah. Exactly. In the Mac App of the Year finalists, I know I'm not a big user of it, but OmniFocus 4 I think is probably a worthy.
I'm a big user of OmniFocus 4.
Yeah, me too.
Happy to see that this is. You guys are probably happy to see this being I'm app of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it get recognition like this. It is an excellent app. I know for a segment of people that do task tracking, this is way overkill, and that's okay. That's why there's things or Apple reminders or whatever. But for those of us that need this level of control over task management and to a degree a level of project management outside of a project manager tool, this is the bomb.
Yeah. I think it's. I think it. Not that anybody can predict what and why Apple chooses what they choose, but I think this is really pushed towards the enterprise. I mean, this is a process that app itself can be much more enterprise focused than an individual picking it up and doing their stuff with it, except for Jeff. But Jeff is an enterprise.
All on my own. Yeah. It's what, an $80 app? And a lot of people are like, holy forking shirt balls, I'm not paying $80 for an app. And I'm like, take my money. Just shut up and take my money.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So let me hit Apple TV before we'll spend a little more time on Vision Pro. One of them I was kind of surprised with was Zoom, but Patrice, you and I we talked about this earlier.
Yeah,
that Zoom does have some compelling features on the Apple TV that you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zoom was probably the premier example for continuity camera on the Apple TV, and Apple highlighted them. I don't remember which event, but they did actually highlight them for that specifically. And I think, there's probably not a lot happening, to be honest, on the Apple TV. It's not the most vibrant app ecosystem these days. So yeah, makes sense for me.
Yeah, and the two other apps I've never used before, and don't look very exciting to me. Dropout and F1 TV, but okay, they still got some ways to go. There's just not a lot of apps on the Apple TV that are of compelling to me.
The F1 had some controversy with the Vision Pro. Because they were bringing in content that apparently was available, but they weren't necessarily licensed to reproduce it that way. So they've kind of had to retrench on it. But man, you look at some of I'm not a Formula One fan, and I'm not, I was not ready to pay, and I haven't paid for the F1 subscription. But the thing that they could do with it on Vision Pro is just pretty damn amazing. With multiple screens for multiple parts in the thing, it almost got me, and then you shut them down for a while. So,
yeah,
Dave, I have a hypothesis. Unless you just want to go on, and then that's fine.
No, I always welcome your hypothesis.
Okay, here's my hypothesis on the lack of apps that we would like to see on Apple TV. And I think this is a failure on Apple's part to get the message out, to properly market what this is. I think most people see this as just a streaming TV device. And in many cases, why would I get one? Because I have Apple TV built into my smart TV. And Apple TV is capable of so much more. And Apple really needs to get that message out and get some developers on board, do what they've done on other platforms, pay companies to write the apps that they want to see on Apple TV, so people understand this is more than just the box that you stream silo on.
And I think that's why probably all three of those apps are good examples, because with Zoom you can do some really cool things on Apple TV. The F1 app, I've heard some people who care about F1 and have the app that they're quite happy with it. So and Dropout, I don't know anything about, but I'm assuming same thing.
It's a TV channel or streaming TV app, specific company's content. It's like a comedy channel.
Yeah, but it's probably stands out not because it's yet another content channel, but because it does something different in how the content is exposed.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference to your whatever random LG TV or Samsung or whatever you have, because they don't do that.
Yeah. So with other Vision Pros, we're going to go through quick here. What If is an immersive story. It's a Marvel app. That's really cool. Good. NBA, if you're into the basketball, for American basketball, NBA, they've got some great free content. You can get some videos and stuff, but you can pay for this and also get access to watch the games, which is kind of cool. And then Jigspace is a kind of a cool app as well. That's a 3D presentation for teams, so that's a little more business oriented. But
I have a question about
if there's any Vision Pro apps, I want to try them because there's so minimal apps that are out there. I'd like to try this and see what it's all about. So
I have a question about Jigspace.
Go ahead.
As someone who's not an Apple Vision Pro user, is it a thing where everyone that's part of the group meeting has to wear an Apple Vision Pro, or is it just like the presenter wears one and you get a 2D representation of the 3D thing they're doing? I'm probably asking the wrong crowd because none of us know what most of these apps are.
I haven't used it, but based on what I know about Vision Pro, you could share it on FaceTime at least. I have no clue if that works on Teams, but definitely on FaceTime because you can SharePlay. And SharePlay also works with people who are not. You simply get them in 2D in a window. I've tried that. So that definitely works. So I assume, yes. Is it as good? No, of course not. But yeah. Ideally in Apple, everybody has a Vision Pro, right?
Yeah, Jeff, you're this is for enterprise. It's for being able to show off, in this case, your engine parts, your jet engine part. If you look at some of the video with it, so it's meant for engineers and folks who are, well, not just engineers, but folks who are looking at design and doing that. And I presume it involves an outside programmer kind of putting together the specifics to be able to run whatever animation they're going to run on it.
That makes sense.
When I go to the App Store preview, it has iPhone and iPad, so it's also available.
I was just going to tell you that.
Yeah,
but it only doesn't mention Vision Pro.
It doesn't mention Vision Pro, and Vision Pro is when I first saw it.
Yeah,
I think I downloaded it, but there was very little I could do with it, and realized that it was really meant for industry development.
Yeah, I mean, and there's different. I mean, there's a million different ways you can use it. I mean, you can use these files like any 3D scan you've done, like I don't know, the Mars rover. There's an extra app for that, but like in theory, or CAD files. Like if you're designing like some physical object as a CAD drawing, you can import a CAD file and then look at it in the real space and look at what the machine or whatever you're building, car, whatever it is, will look like. So I think this is a really good and important, and I think really hopefully useful app. It's just not for us because we're not doing any of these things.
Yeah, that probably makes sense why they did that. So, okay, so that's all the app awards. So I have some products that are from Scosche. I wanted to talk a little bit about these products that were provided to me. Thank you, Scosche, and wanted to give my reviews of some of these items. There are some car mounts, and that's what Scosche is really well known for, is having some great car mounts for your iPhone in the car. But they also had something unique here. The first one here this is the Magic Flask, and this thing is pretty wild. This is an actual water flask that you can fill it with water, and it has the nozzle at the top, so you flip it up and you can drink out of it. This goes down flat, so it's there, but it also it unscrews very easily. There's a straw for the water. That's really cool. I'm going to show this on camera, and it's very, very solid. But then also it has a MagSafe adapter here that goes right to the iPhone. And I say it's pretty strong. It holds it pretty good. But the other thing too is while you're working out, let's say you can have this and put it in a cup holder and then watch a video and not have to put it somewhere, which is nice. The other thing too is like if maybe you're working out and you don't want to put your phone on there, this actually sticks to metal surfaces. So I've done that before. You just pop and then like if you're having a machine, you just stick it right on there too as well. If you're traveling, it does have a nice rubber base, so it protects it, but this base actually pops off, and if you have a dog or a cat, you can fill this with water. So now this little cup right here, it's not toxic at all. So travel drinking bowl for your pet. So if you take your office manager, Jeff, with you,
unless you have a big dog,
then
it's
too small. Dog. Yeah, this is kind of small, but yeah. So it's I think it's on sale right now for like $30. It's not too terribly expensive. I got a link in the show notes here. Let me see. It's $34.99, and there's a 10% coupon available right now as we're recording this. Not a bad deal. It's very, 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 very well made together. And this is the Magic Flask from Scosche.
Or drinking flask, that's nothing. Like $35.
Yeah, exactly. You could buy the Yeti ones and pay more. So, and I got two mounts here. This is the Magic Mount series of mounts that Scosche has. This is the actual car mount, and this one's a simple one here. So this one here, it has an adhesive pad on the back here, and it's got the nice big MagSafe, and it attaches to the phone quite nicely. So very, very good. It's got the built-in USB-C cable right in here, so you can plug it right into your carport here. You can also use it. There's a car vent clip that can be coming if you don't want to stick it to your dash. So like this has really good adhesive, and then give you a kit here to make sure that it sticks nicely. But some people like the car vent thing. I'm not a huge fan of using car vent adapters in the car, so it's got that as well. Not a bad little device here. And again, this is around $50.99 on Amazon, and it's about 10% promotion right now as we talk this. And this one is more of the extended one. And this is the Charge Elite 3-in-1. And this one here gives you the options, of course, to use the car vent, but it also has an arm, so this can reposition in place here. So you can move this back and forth, but you also can position it, whether it be up on the dash, it can be facing you. You could change it that way, or the car vent. So the only real difference between this one is that it gives you this little extension arm. So it allows you to do it in 3 different positions if you so choose. Again, it comes with the car vent. Very simple. I think these are really nice products here. Scosche is really well known to make some great products.
They do.
Only thing I'll probably say of the negative to it is I don't know. This magnet feels kind of weak. It kind of doesn't. I mean, I don't think it. I think when I'm flipping it, I'm not worried by doing this. My 16 Pro Max here.
I did see you had your hand ready to grab that if it fell off.
Yeah. See, I mean, I guess because it sits and it looks like it's handling enough of the weight, but I don't know. I wonder.
There's a lot of vibrations in cars. So.
Yeah,
there's vibrations. So I would hate to see the phone drop.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be much of an impact in the car, but still, maybe something Scosche should take a look at, or unless I'm missing something. I don't think I am. So, there's the two mounts. I got them side by side here. Very simple, easy to use, and check it out. Got some good discounts right now through Amazon, and I got links to all these products in the show notes.
Very cool.
If anybody needs a car mount, go check it out. Be a lot of fun. So with that, let's go to the news. There's a lot of news this week I found. So let's talk about this. This is always my favorite topic. We always like to rip on this because of GM and their decision of abandoning CarPlay. But this has been thwarted by this clever third-party kit to it. And there's a picture here of a GM car with CarPlay running. As we know, GM has made their stance clear that the future of equipping their vehicles with Android Auto on CarPlay, it won't be. However, a clever third-party kit promises to restore the functionality. As we know, back in March of 2024, they said they were no longer be supporting it, and they go through the whole thing. We've talked about this before. That they feel that it's not the thing for them. However, for drivers who are still interested in GM cars, that is removing these. There is a third-party kit that's been making it possible. It's White Automotive and Media Services, or WAMS, a small business based in Michigan. How ironic! Announced a new kit that allows Android Auto and CarPlay to work on GM's new Ultium EVs, the ones that lack those platforms in the first place. So the kit will work with the Chevy Blazer EV, Equinox, and the Silverado, and gets and connects to both the main display and the instrument cluster too. Oh, it's cool.
So is this like a piece of hardware that splices in and just takes over the displays?
I guess so.
It doesn't say. I'm clicking the link here that was announced. So of course, it's a link to Facebook.
I mean,
it's a. Let's see what it is here.
At the end of the day, it's something.
It is an upgrade kit.
Yeah, something is sending a signal to something. So yeah, there's always a way. I love stuff like this, like people figuring out things that the manufacturer doesn't want them to figure out.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video here showing you how to do it as well. So yeah. I just thought another dig. Some mastermind re-engineered this just to stick it to GM for doing this.
So will there be a market for these things?
It's hard to say. I would think.
Yes. How big? Different question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
There
will be people that will care enough to do this.
Yeah, I tried to explain the GM thing to my wife, and I'm afraid her answer might be representative of most folks who don't think about it too deeply. I love my wife. There's nothing wrong about that. Maybe she said this to hurt me, but she said, I'm sure all the companies data mine.
Yes.
Right.
Unequivocally, she said, I'm sure all the companies data mine, i.e., this is okay because everybody's doing it, which I said that a lot to my parents when I was younger and it didn't help. But I'm afraid a lot of people think that they've kind of become desensitized to having their data mined.
Yeah.
After the whole Facebook thing where people started and Meta and anything beyond that, the data mining seems like, okay, well, it's just part of the business of doing business.
I would say it probably is these days. Name a company that is not doing it. Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know because we keep finding companies that are doing it without letting us know they do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to say Frito-Lay, but I bet him they figured out a way to do some sort of data mining.
They're like,
Oh yeah.
Tracking chips.
Get you to eat little RFID chips and Do they really want to track that kind of data? I don't
yummy.
know.
Get that in my system, huh? Oh my gosh. So yeah, check it out. I don't think it's ready for prime time yet, but it looks like something interesting to know that somebody is looking to circumvent GM's.
Or an idea is that GM will just buy this guy off. Here's a big check. Don't let it come to market.
Yeah. So yeah, I bet there won't be some lawsuits if it does come to big market. Possibly. Yes. Who knows? To keep my trend here of automotive and CarPlay, the Mercedes-Benz has now unveiled a new app. It's the Apple Watch app. And it's definitely interesting to see what they're doing here. It was a press release that was released this week that it has a wide range of functionality. It's available today, as includes real-time vehicle information, the ability to lock and unlock your car, and more. It does have the typical stuff on most cars. A lot of cars that have this service, locating a parked vehicle and pedestrian route, navigation to it, a compass made for navigation, locking and unlocking your vehicle remotely, and access the most important information and your car status, as well as viewing information such as vehicle range, battery, or fuel level. The new integration also allows owners to interact with their vehicles seamlessly without having to head to access the smartphone. That's what Mercedes-Benz touts, so you shouldn't be looking at your smartphone when you're driving, of course. And it's going to work on watchOS 9 or newer, and it does say features will be based on the trim of your car. I tend to see this as a trend here with my wife now owning a Jeep Grand Cherokee, the new model, with the Summit that has all the bells and whistles. You have to pay Jeep $22 a month for this service, but it does provide everything in real time. But it's pretty amazing, especially if somebody who forgets their key or needs to unlock the door. And we had tested it. Well, she tested it because a funny story. Someone put her key in the side of her purse, and it's a zipper where she would never go. It's like an expansion zipper. And she couldn't figure out why her car kept unlocking because she left her purse in the car. So I said, wait a minute, it's got to be in your purse. So I sit down, I look at a zipper, wait, was it in here? And then sure enough, it's like tucked in there. But it's supposed to be, if you leave your key in the car with these key fobs, that it unlocks as soon as you close it and lock it. So, but she did get locked out. So that nice thing is now you can unlock the car right from the app, as well as seeing how the oil's doing and how much miles you have in the car and if there's how much gas is left. So that's cool. A lot of convenience. Yeah. But again, like with this, this is not free for me. Mercedes-Benz is never free. So
probably also not.
So I'm kind of giving that example. Yeah, it's probably more for them.
It's like if you paid the $10,000 whatever extra, then you get it for whatever $100 a month or something.
Yeah, for as much as the Jeep Grand Cherokees cost too. This really should be included, honestly. So, but other than my experience with those types of apps, it's really cool that they have these available and the way the world is today with the technology in them now. Anybody have anything to add on that?
Nah. This is not news. There's, as you said, a million tech companies have this already.
It was news of an app release. That's why I put it in that category.
It's okay.
Other news in CarPlay is Porsche still has no imminent plans of launching next generation CarPlay despite its 2023 preview. They did show what it could look like in its vehicles with some images in the instrument cluster, but it looks like that the automaker's plans to maintain its kernel level of CarPlay integration is in the near term. Porsche supports standard CarPlay, while some of its vehicles like the Taycan and other additional features like EV routing and Apple Maps is not next generation CarPlay. Aston Martin was also previewed along with Porsche this year, and they still have yet to release it. So I don't even know. More the point of this is I don't know where is the next generation of CarPlay going, because we haven't seen anything yet that's been out yet. What do you think, Jeff?
Okay, first, it takes a long time to design and ramp up manufacturing of a car. So seeing a car come out like this year or in 2024 with second-gen CarPlay, to me still seems like that would be a surprise, because that would be kind of early. So everyone getting all upset and clutching their pearls over CarPlay 2 not being a thing yet, I still think it's a little early to get worried about that. But like Porsche saying, hey, Here's some great Photoshop images of what we're visualizing for CarPlay 2.
Yeah.
Okay. What that tells me is Porsche is at least involved enough in their process that they felt comfortable saying, "Hey, here's some images we've put together."
Yeah. So
yeah,
especially, and I see in our show notes the next article. And here's the thing: Porsche Group owns VW, owns Audi, and Audi is supposedly close to releasing it. So, and they're like these days, the cars, a lot of it is shared between them. There's a lot of differences and a lot of extras, and everybody does their own thing with the brands and whatever. But there's a ton of shared stuff, and I bet on the software side especially. So if Audi is doing it, Porsche has it. They own Audi, so of course they have it. So it's just a matter of when are they, for different clientele that they have for Porsche, when are they ready to do it?
Yeah, that's true. And that's good. I could just kind of do a quickly transition over to that next story. That you're right. Since Audi is already owned by Porsche anyway, that's just they're just moving it on to that. And again, I agree with you, Jeff. It takes a long time for car manufacturers to do designs like this. That's for sure. Do you want to add anything to this, Marty?
Nah, not really. I've never been to a dealer looking for a Porsche or looking for an Audi.
But if someone wants to just give Marty a Porsche or an Audi.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure you want to. We want that.
Yeah.
Do you know how many Vision Pros he could buy when he sells that?
That's a good point. I mean, I was just more thinking, do you know how many Vision Pros you would have to spend when you want to repair anything on them? But okay.
Well, that'll be someone else's problem.
Yeah.
But I'll cash it in, get the money, and buy Chuck and Jeff a Vision Pro.
Oh, that's nice.
Vision Pro.
You're the best.
You're the best.
Yeah, we'll wait for that day to happen.
I know. Don't hold my breath. My lips turn blue.
Yeah, but I mean, given that those are German car manufacturers, of course I know about them.
Yeah, as you know well.
Yes, I used to own an Audi at some point. Didn't have CarPlay.
Nope. Back in those days, nope.
Actually,
all right.
They just never shipped it for that one. It was already a thing. Gotcha. They're not. It's German. They're not the fastest.
You know, on this trip, I was going to do a rental of an Audi Q6 until I got to the dealer. I checked out the rental a couple of days before. I said, that is just not enough trunk space for 3 people. And what I know we're going to be taking. So then I got switched.
And that is a big car in Germany. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Marty, that's a rookie mistake. You don't kill all 3 of them at once. You do it one at a time.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. On that note, let's go to the next story here. You can now upload videos directly to YouTube with the iOS share sheet integration. YouTube this week, as a record, reintroduced the support for the iOS share sheet, which means that it's now possible to share videos from the iPhone Photos app and other videos directly to YouTube. Use the YouTube share sheet integration automatically imports a video to YouTube where it can be edited and then uploaded to the YouTube Shorts. Sharing a video to YouTube via share sheet was an option prior version, but it was removed way back in 2018 until this week. There was no option to even natively do this to YouTube. So, again, another way for a content creator or somebody that's crazy who wants to upload videos right from your iPhone, right?
Always surprised how long it takes Google to do anything. Maybe I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be.
Don't be surprised. YouTube and Google, by extension, do not deserve any praise for this.
No.
They took away a feature and presumably took it away, and I'm totally projecting here, but I don't think I'm reaching too far for this. Took it away in an effort to push you into their own apps, and now they're finally adding it back in. They shouldn't have taken it away in the first place. So, okay, they finally brought it back.
Yeah.
Well,
remember when
those guys anyhow.
Yeah. Remember when they charged you for picture-in-picture on iOS?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. So, anybody else? Anything else want to add to that?
Mm-mm.
All right. This is an interesting story here. How Apple Card savings accounts interest rates compared to major competitors. I know, unfortunately, Patrice, you can't take advantage of this with the Apple Card anyway, but it does allow more interest on your money than the most average bank's basic savings accounts. Apple's now currently offering an APY of 4.1% as of this week.
That's not bad.
As we record, not bad at all. Competitive rate, but it's not the absolute best offer this time. So the chart below in this article shows so many others that do have much more. You got a couple here at 5%. That's something to start exploring, but that's a small little percentage. If you've already been doing it with Apple Card savings, it's nice to have. I mean, it's nice to have that nice interest rate for the Apple Card. I think it's so convenient the way it works, being able to deposit money right into that account, and it transfers pretty quickly back and forth. So, want to add something, Jeff?
Yeah, take a look at the fine print when you're looking at your various bank, credit card offers for what you're getting back. Because there's like the CIT Bank, 4.55%. Hey, that's pretty good. But this is on more than $5,000.
Uh-huh.
So if you're thinking, I'm getting 5% back on my gas and groceries, no, you are not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's exactly
the fine print.
It's with everything.
We're still figuring out is Goldman Sachs, as has been discussed, are they going to end their lending partnership with Apple? But it's still unclear.
Yeah,
what's going to happen.
I don't have a lot to spread around, but I can't see myself jumping from a system to another system for 0.3%.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's more work.
And to a system that, Fierce Bank, I've never heard of them.
Ooh.
And I'm looking at the list right now. CIT Bank, yeah, I've heard of them, but the kinds of fine print stuff that Jeff was talking about. And when you only have $100 in your Apple Bank anyways, what is 0.1% annually? It's sort of...
Yeah.
It's sort of I don't play the margins as much as other people think we should. So
yeah. And I mean, we all know it's gonna go down because as the Fed is lowering interest rates, these will go down. You guarantee you. And then the differences get even smaller.
Yep. All right. 2 more iPhone stories before we wrap up. Product Red. It's been scaled back. Apple has scaled back the product Red options over the past few years. It's been since 2006. Apple's partnered with the Red brand to raise money for the Global Fund, an organization that aims to combat diseases like HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis and malaria in Africa. Through its partnership, it's offered this program for some products, but it's scaled back its efforts over the last few years. The only current generation Product Red product that Apple sells is the iPhone SE3. Which is expected to be discontinued in March. Beyond that, quote unquote current. Yes, I like that. There's no 15 or 16 models so far. In
the 14, I think, is the last. They're still selling the 14, and I think that's the last one, right? I think
the last one that was Red. Yeah. So maybe they're slowly phasing out the brand. It's hard to say, but again, it was a nice thing while it lasted. So anybody add to that?
I love the color. The fact that I was also giving 3 cents to something good was a benefit on top.
Is there other ways in which Apple is doing the kinds of things that Product Red did that they're doing now in a different way? So scaling back Product Red seems like you're losing something, but we're missing the point of what else they're doing that is, helping people.
They are. There's even right now a promotion ongoing on, what was it, Apple Pay payments, I think, where they, I think up to, 3 million? There's a certain limit that they've put in. They will basically give to, I don't remember what cause. I just heard about that the other day.
The Global Fund.
The Global Fund. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
I was looking it up while you were talking. I didn't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I just heard about that the other day. So yes, they are doing other things.
So maybe they just want to get away from the color on a product and look at more ways that they can get involved besides getting people to buy in on a particular product or color.
Yeah, they probably
mean,
weren't selling enough product red to make it worthwhile.
It's kind of like the iPhone Mini.
Yeah.
Where'd that go?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's all you know.
Either that or they simply realized, I mean, I don't know how efficient and good the whole thing is these days. Like the charity behind it. Maybe they were like, yeah, this is it's not worth the money we're giving there. It's not having the impact we want. We'll just do something else.
Yeah. Well, see what happens. Last story here is Apple's reportedly plans to remove iPhone's SIM card tray in more countries next year. As we know, the physical SIM card tray in the iPhone was in the US, starting with iPhone 14 through the 16. It does not have a SIM card tray, but instead relies entirely on eSIM technology. Apple has yet to release any iPhones without a SIM card tray outside the US, but it sounds like it might be changing, finally expanding internationally, starting with the iPhone 17 lineup next September. Indeed, the report says there's a current quote-unquote iPhone 17 Air prototype that lacks the SIM card tray, but again, it's a prototype. I can't even depend on any stuff to try. I never even want to mention the iPhone 17 because that's a long way away from now as we record here. So,
but it's locked in probably.
In addition,
at this point,
yeah. But it has to. I think eSIM is the way to go these days. Yeah. You really don't need a physical SIM anymore. And I'm sure the carriers are probably love not to have the technology, and you have it.
I checked because I was like, does mine even have one? I wasn't even sure. I was like, maybe they removed it, and I just didn't even know this. Like, I haven't used the SIM in years.
Yeah, no, I love the eSIM technology, and what's great about it, being able to easily transfer between phones. You can add in a second line, no problem. I think you can add up to like
8
3 or 4 lines, I think it is.
Isn't it 8?
8? Yeah. I can imagine having 8 lines on one iPhone.
I know some people.
Oh, gosh. Wow. That's a lot of lines. Well, that's good. Especially people who don't want to maintain a business phone and a personal phone, you can, all the calls and data can go through there. So.
Or you're traveling, you're going somewhere, you want a local SIM because it's cheaper for data and stuff.
That too.
Stuff like that. Makes sense. Transfer is a problem. Not every carrier supports it yet, but.
That's the other thing. Yep. But
SIM cards were helpful to me when they were helpful because I would take a cheaper phone with me when I traveled internationally. Like I'd take an SE or something that would get the job done, but wouldn't get stolen. And the problem now is it's not as easy for me to just for a couple of weeks switch an eSIM over to another device and then back to that device. So I haven't quite figured out that process other than maybe having a separate phone. I do now have 2 phone lines on my one expensive phone.
Nice.
So, the business line and then the personal line are something I've got incorporated. But I kind of like popping that thing out, getting a cheap phone, putting it in a tray and going to Turkey and not having to worry about my expensive phone back home.
The transfers, if your carrier, whatever you're using, has an app, then it's usually quite easy.
Okay.
Depends. So just have to look for that.
Anything else you want to add, Jeff? All right. Well, with that is a wrap for this week. Thank you all for being here, and thanks to all that was here on the chat and the YouTube at youtube.com/intouchability.iOS. And we'll go ahead and wrap up for this week. That is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon and BlueSky, for that matter, at intouchwithios. You support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a Patreon of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming. Usually it's on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thanks for Cletus being in the chat and a number of others that were out there. I appreciate it. You can be able to watch the live shows as we record them, as well as you can watch the live feed because we save that out there, as well as listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are on that magazine. The link is in our show notes. And you can also subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, many others. But better yet, go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on BlueSky at DaveG65 and Mastodon as well. And Patrice Brend'amour, thank you so much for being here. It was always a thrill when I have you on the show. Where can people find you?
First of all, thank you so much for moving the show extra, especially for me, also Marty and Jeff, for being so nice to do that. I know that's a hassle when you're used to having a show time and then you move it around. So thank you.
We love having you.
It's a great pleasure as always. You can find me with Jeff and with Dave on the British Tech Network. I'm there twice a week. Thursdays with Jeff on the Big Show, where we talk about the non-Apple side of things, and Fridays on the Mac Show, where we talk about the Apple side of things with Dave and Jeff and some other miscreants. And you can find everything I'm doing, all the social media links, the podcast, the projects, literally everything on my website, thepatrice.com. And Jeff and I have a really cool podcast called Retro Rewatch, and I always like to show the mug because I love that mug. Retro Rewatch, we rewatch retro TV shows, and we're rewatching Stargate SG-1 right now. Published Solitudes yesterday, so really cool season 1 episode. Go watch it.
Nice, great. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Marty Jencius, for being here. I know you were traveling. Appreciate you were able to make it on the show this week. Where can people find you? You're muted.
Can we make the show a little longer? Because it will mean I don't have to go back to my in-laws.
You know us.
Just
we can talk for
slow.
another 3 hours. Not a problem.
Yeah, no problem.
You can find me at Jencius, Jencius, at BlueSky.com. Also, the podcast that I'm involved in, you can find at thepodtalk.net. A couple I want to mention here: Tuesdays with Chuck on Mac Voices, Thursdays with Dave on In Touch with iOS, and then Monday nights at 9 o'clock. And Eric Bolden and I have been trying to figure out some way to snag Patrice and figuring out, do we shift our time? Do we try and do that? Because I saw somewhere somebody said in a chat room that Patrice is the queen of Vision Pro. So we would
I know
have
who
to have
that was.
I want to be on that show too.
I know who
have to
that
have
was.
loyalty.
Yes.
And I know she's in space a lot more than I am in Vision
Tons.
Pro, and she's enjoying that. So we need to have her on the show sometime. Vision Profiles on Monday night at 9 o'clock. And then a new show I'm doing with folks who are Mac users over the age of 65 called The Old Mac Gang. And we talk about issues that seniors deal with technology, particularly around the Apple ecosystem. So that's fun, and it's the characters that make it great. So that's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Very cool.
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
Vision
I
Profiles.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
You guys are doing great. I enjoyed being on it too.
Yeah.
And Jeff Gamet, thank you always for being here. Where can people find you?
Thank you for letting me be part of this. It is so much fun, and I always look forward to the show. All right, so where people can find me: social media, Gamet everywhere, and I'm most active on Mastodon, Instagram, and now finally I'm getting in the habit of being active on BlueSky. Then for shows, Tuesdays, Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live. Thursdays, except this week Friday, Dave lets me join in on In Touch with iOS. The Big Show and the Mac Show on the British Tech Network. And Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine. And as Patrice pointed out, we do Retro Rewatch. And no surprise, we both have opinions about Stargate SG-1 Solitudes. So go check it out.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. And thank everybody out there who was watching, was listening. And we really appreciate you being here on the show this week. And we'll do it again next week. And thanks to the panel for being here as well. And until next time, thanks.